Just
Dillman.
tell us, yeah.
Yeah,
tell us
Todd
what you-
Dillman, Dallas Morning News.
Yeah.
Can you give me some understanding of how your convention is going to go? There's been a lot of focus on Hillary Clinton here. Is there going to be a lot of focus on Trump in Philadelphia, and how is it going to be different?
Our convention will be unrecognizable compared to the one that you are seeing play out this week, because you will hear speaker after speaker not only extol the virtues of our nominee and how proud we are to be making history, and the history that we're going to be making in Philadelphia by nominating the first woman president of the United States, but you'll also hear speaker after speaker talk about our policy proposals, our vision for America, the fact that we want to make sure that we can continue to build on the progress that we've been able to make after being in the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression that was caused by Republican economic policies that they are waning and waxing nostalgic about, that as the good old days this week, that only looked at the most fortunate few. And you'll hear from our stage that an acknowledgement that people across America may not be feeling like they're standing on the firmest ground, but that we've had 76 months of job growth, that we've added 14.8 million jobs, that 20 million people now have health insurance that didn't before, that we've reduced our deficit, that the auto industry is roaring like it never has before, and after we rescued it when Republicans would have let it go down the tubes. You'll hear tremendous, broad-based positive messaging, policy proposals, extolling the virtues of our candidate, and yes, drawing a dramatic and significant contrast with Donald Trump because it's there.
Let me just add this.
Yeah.
What you're going to hear, though, you're going to hear from people who believe in the promise of America. You're going to hear from people at our convention who understand that this is already the greatest nation in the world. You're going to hear from people who understand the fears and the anxiety of the American people and give them a reason to have hope and to believe in what we can do as a people. You're going to hear very different. You're not going to hear the anger. You're not going to hear people who are just talking to hear themselves talk. You're going to hear people who have something to say. It's going to be a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yes.
Greg Newman, WKOW-TV in Madison, Wisconsin. Kind of a two-part question. Speaker Ryan, I know that you probably disagree with him on a lot, but you probably have some respect for him as a professional. Are you surprised to see the 180 he's kind of made on Trump in the speech last night, and also Governor Walker speaking tonight? I guess what do you expect to hear from him?
Well, I mean, we all certainly have respect for our colleague, Speaker Ryan, but it's been painful to watch the process that he's been through to get to that stage last night. I didn't see his entire speech, but from what I did see, he didn't say very much, if anything, about Donald Trump himself. To me, I almost felt badly about how uncomfortable he looked on that stage. And Paul Ryan rarely looks uncomfortable in almost any setting. He's a very confident person, sure of himself and sure of his convictions, even though we don't agree with many of them. What is sad about the Republican Party today, and that we see consistently every single day play out on the floor of the House of Representatives, is that they care more about holding on to power. Individuals in their party, like Speaker Ryan, like Speaker Boehner before him, care more about holding on to power than they do about doing the right thing, or at least attempting to reach across the aisle and work together. We know, and you will hear this over and over again at our convention next week, that we are stronger together. We know that my way or the highway politics doesn't get us where we need to go. We know that there are some good ideas that Republicans have, and that we should sit down across the table from them and hammer out those differences so that we can reach a compromise that can help move us forward. And they have the attitude that everything that Democrats say or do is wrong. And you can point back to what Mitch McConnell said after President Obama was elected, that he was going to make sure, his number one priority at the time was to make sure that Barack Obama was a one-term president. I mean, for the majority leader, at the time, minority leader of the United States Senate to say that that was his number one priority tells you all you need to know about the Republicans' priorities.
Can I add one thing
Yeah,
on there?
of course.
Greg, this is a difficulty. Textbook definition of racism. Those were the words that Speaker Paul Ryan used to describe what Donald Trump said about Judge Gurriel. Textbook definition of racism. Then almost in the same breath, he says, and I'm endorsing this guy to be President of the United States. Here's the difficulty. If it's okay to be a a racist, what's going to happen once you're president and now you have an opportunity to actually deploy your policies? Who's included and who's not in that America? And we really are stronger as a country when we're together. And that's why we believe with Hillary Clinton, we'll bring everyone in. But it's difficult to understand why a guy who deserves respect because of what he's been able to achieve as now the Speaker of the House of Representatives, second in line to be President of the United States, is willing to endorse a guy who uses words that the Speaker himself describes as being textbook definition of racism. And that's what's hard to swallow, not just for me, but for my dad.
Next question.
Yes. Hi, Jessica Ralston from ABC6 in Columbus, Ohio, and also representing Sinclair Broadcast Group. Clearly you're trying to send a positive message today, but specifically